Okay. Let's discuss about the production. Okay. Production and production process. In here, we are going to consider about the production. Okay. And the main elements related to the production process. First of all, you have to identify production is a process. It is not a one activity. Okay. Process means a collection of different type of activities. We call it process. Okay. Then you have to identify production also is a one of the process contained with different types of activities in together identify as a production. Okay. So before identify this production, you have to identify why we are going to study or doing a jobs or anything. Because you have two types of basic things to satisfy. Those are basic needs and wants. Okay. Those are the things you are going to satisfy by doing different type of economic activities. Okay. So then to satisfy the basic needs and wants, you need goods and services. So without goods and services, you cannot satisfy the basic human needs. But unfortunately, you know that the supply from the nature, it is not enough to fulfill the basic human needs and wants. Especially we know that wants are unlimited, but needs are limited. Okay. Unfortunately, the supply from the nature, it is not enough to cover the entire basic needs or wants to the any kind of societies. That is why we need to produce goods and services. Okay. That is why we need to produce. To produce goods and services, you can identify three types of main basic institutes will be there. Three types of. What are they? And it will be private sector or government sector or combined with the private and government sector, we call it cooperative sector. Okay, there may be another organization we call it multinational corporations, something like that one. Okay, so those are the basic organizations. So in this kind of organization, they are going to produce goods and services. They are going to produce goods and services. How they are going to produce goods and services? They need production factors, factors of productions. We call it input. Okay, we call it input. In here, you also can identify inputs. Okay, such as raw materials, labor, and capital. So those are the inputs or resources we are going to identify. This is the input for the process of the production. Okay, so inputs are there. Now we are going to convert the input. We call it process. We call it process. Okay. After that, you can get output. Output always goods and services. There may be tangible things or intangible things will be here. First one is tangible. We call it goods. Intangible, services. Okay, there is no physical things to identify, but you can satisfy the basic needs and wants by consuming that kind of services. Okay, so why we need that kind of goods and services? To satisfy the human wants. Okay, so then now you can identify production is a process. Yes, production is a process transforming input into the output. Okay, this is the input and this is the output. So as example, you just consider bakery producer, flour, sugar, eggs, and labor inputs. Those are the inputs. So those are the inputs you can identify in here. This is inputs. So now you can convert all those input into the output. So what is the meaning of output? So bread and cakes. By consuming that kind of bread or cakes, you can satisfy the wants. So this is the transformation. Okay. Change the input into the output. That's the meaning of process. So now in here, I mean, in that kind of process, you can identify major activities. Okay. Because of this production, cost will arise. Yes. There must be a cost. Because of this production process, there must be a revenue. Yes. Cost, revenue, and production. So those are the three major elements of these productions. What are they? Production, cost, and the revenue. In here, we are going to discuss all those three. Okay, we are going to cover up all those three basic activities. In here, the production is a process of transformation into the input into the output. Mean this is the process. Input, process, output. This process can be done by using technology, isn't it? Yes. Or scientific methodology, chemical or something like that. Transformation mechanism can be created by the scientific method. Yes. It can be technology or chemical activity. Okay. So then this is the method you can transform the input into the output. Okay. Now you got the idea related to the production process. Basically, you have to identify production is a process of transforming input into the output. Input mean production resources. Output mean goods and services, which you can satisfy the basic human needs and wants. Yes. Okay.
Wants.
Excuse me? Yes, you have some.
Yes.
Okay, nice. So this is one of the easier process you can identify. Okay, inputs. I mean raw materials. It is belong to the land. Okay, egg, flour, yeast, water. So we can call those things ingredients. Yes, and human resources. I mean labors are the workers and managers, which and everyone considers as human resources. And man-made resources. Man-made resources mean capital. Okay, it is not a gift of the nature. It is man-made resources. Okay, we call it capital. Equipments, machineries, something like that belong to the capital. In here, oven, baking trays, and something like we call it equipments to the process. Oh, yes, those are belong to the capital. Okay, so those are the inputs. Now we are going to process. The process for the manufacturing breads will include measuring, heating, mixing, anything. Okay, heating, cooling, anything can be here. So finally, you can convert that input into the output, the finished product. We call it final product. Okay, distribute to the consumer to satisfy the basic wants and needs and wants. So this is the process. So in here, in this lesson, we are going to identify the basic elements and activities related to the production process. Okay, this is only one production process. There may be another production process which different from this production process. Okay, I will discuss all those things. But in here, you have to identify there are different types of production types. Okay, we can identify different types of categories related to the production. First one is primary productions. Okay, as example, farming, fishing, mining. Actually, those activities are belong to the agriculture production. We call it primary production. Why we call it as a primary production? Because in that cases, we are not going to use more and more technology. We are not going to use many kind of man-made capitals. In that kind of process, I mean, in primary production, we are using simple technology, simple equipments, simple machineries. Okay, as an example, just consider about the uh, paddy production in Sri Lanka. We can do that paddy production without any kind of capital, isn't it? Yes, yes, we can do it. But in nowadays, it convert to the machineries activities. Yes, okay, because each and everything change. So then secondary production is a manufacturing things. Actually, it is belong to the factory productions. Okay, processing. So just consider about the production of discussed. Yes, it is a manufacturing productions. It's a factory productions. It produce under the roof, isn't it? Yes, it produce under the roof. But in primary production, it's not produced in the under the roof. Okay. In here, I mean, secondary production activity, they are going to use technology, new equipments, management activities. Okay. So one of the high level of standard comparing to the primary production. Okay. So, and then territory productions. It is service-based activity. Banking, education, healthcare, something like in that section. I mean, in territory production, this is the section we are going to use high level of technology. We are going to use high level of equipment, high level of machineries. That is why we call it territory productions. As example, just consider about the banking services. Always they are going to use new technology, isn't it? Yes. ATM machines, online payment, online banking, uh, any kind of transaction without borders between other countries, which are every services based on the technology. So now you can identify that kind of territory production, each and everything based on the technology. So we call it, they are using advanced technology. Isn't it? Yes. In here, basic technology. In secondary, moderate technology. So this is the difference between all those three major production types: base technology, moderate technology, and advanced technology. So as example, just consider about the healthcare system. Compare another previous era healthcare system and nowadays healthcare system is completely different. Each and everything designed by using machineries, isn't it? Actually, doctors are not going to do anything related to that one. Their activities, each and every activity is based on the machinery, isn't it? Without machineries,
Yes.
they can do nothing. Yes, that's the reality. Okay, this is the reality. Without machineries, how they can measure anything? Nothing can be measured. So that is why I call that in that services. I mean territory production based on the advanced technology. Without technology, there is no service-based activities. Okay. Okay. Just identify the example. That is enough to understand the difference between the type of production. Okay, right. We got the idea related to the organization. Okay, organizations are belong to the private sector, government sector, cooperative, multinational corporations. Ownership can be changed one organization to another organization. There must be a structure related to the organization. More than two peoples. Rule and regulations. Primary purposes must be there. So those are the main elements related to the organization. But we know that each and every organizations try to achieve their ultimate goal. But the ultimate goal or organizational goal can be changed one organization to another organization. But in common situation, we know that each and every private organization try to maximize the profit. Yes, each and every private organization try to maximize the profit maximize. They are not going to target profit. They try to maximize the profit. That's the difference. Okay. They're not going to satisfy with the profit, reasonable profit margin. They're not going to satisfy that one. They try to maximize the which kind of which kind of profit they can achieve. This is the target. Okay. So in here, I mean, in this particular topic, we are going to identify how we can maximize the profit. Before identify that one, we need to get the idea related to the cost, production, revenue. After calculating all those things, we can identify how we can maximize the profit. Okay, that is what is the main goal of this lesson. Before do that one, we have to consider about main features related to the organization. Okay, first of all, we have to identify. So what is the goal of the organization? What they try to achieve? Some organization try to achieve. They try to maximize the profit, increase the revenue, and reduce the cost. Then how we can identify that one? So just consider revenue. Revenue means the earnings of the production activity. We call it total revenue. Do not worry about the signs. We will discuss all those things and we can calculate all. Okay. Just identify this is the revenue. If the total revenue equal to the total cost of the organization, so then profit will be 0. Yes. The total revenue is 10,000. Total cost for the production processes is also equal to 10,000. So then TR minus TC equal to 0. So then there is no profit. We call it normal profit. Normal profit. Normal profit means profit is 0. Okay. Some kind of different word used in the economics. If questions are telling that it is earning normal profit, then you have to identify in that kind of organization the total revenue equal to the total cost. That is why they are saying about the normal profit. Okay, different words.
So are there any organizations?
Yeah.
Are there any organizations with 0 profits? Like
sometimes government organizations. Some private organization also. Maybe their production revenue is enough to cover the total cost. That's enough. They can continue the production without any advantages. Yes, sometimes, so just consider about the farmers who are cultivating the paddy in this Sri Lanka. Always, their total cost is enough to, their total revenue is enough to cover the total cost. That is why they are in same level in any years. They are getting loan from the banks. They are getting loan from the wholesale seller, something like that. So then their production revenue is enough to pay the loans, then nothing. See, yeah. So that's the meaning of normal profit. That is why they are always asking, always fighting with the government and each and everything to it, because they don't have any options. There may be strategy with that particular industry. We can discuss all those things related to the perfect competitive market structure. I will explain how they can get the normal profit, why their earnings or revenue exactly equal to the total cost. How it happened, I will describe that. It is belong to the structure of the market, structure of the industry. Okay, I will discuss about this. And second one, it is if the total revenue, if the total cost taking greater value than the total revenue, then what will happen? So this is the minus profit. Always profit represented by 5. Okay, minus profit. Okay, so then you are getting losses. In accounting, you can say that you are getting losses. If the total revenue taking greater value than the total cost, so this is the time you can increase the profit maximizing. Okay, we call plus 5. That means plus profit. We call it abnormal profit. Abnormal profit. This is binormal profit. This is normal profit. Do not worry about the names. Okay, we are going to calculate all those things. Normal profit, binormal profit, abnormal profit, each and everything we are going to consider and calculate in here. Okay, do not worry about that one. You are going to calculate and you are going to find the equation, and each and everything can be done. Okay, still we are going to identify the main features of the organization. First one is increase the revenue and reducing the cost. You can maximize the profit. And customer satisfaction. Some organization try to increase the customer satisfaction. How they increase the customer satisfaction? You have to produce quality production. Okay? You have to provide quality services. Then you can satisfy the customers who are engaged with your production activities. So then if customer satisfaction increase, then what will happen to the goodwill? Goodwill also increase. So then what will happen to the selling quantity? Selling quantity going to be increased. So that is how you can maximize the profit. Again, you are going to the main basic goal. Okay. Third one, growth and expansion. Some organizations try to do that. Entering a new market, increasing the production quantity, they can grow their organization and expand their economic activity in the market. Okay, that also belong to the profit maximizing. Okay, that help to expand the selling quantity. That is why they are going to growth. Okay, social responsibility, we call it corporate social responsibility, CSR. If you are going to conduct any kind of businesses in this particular country, so you are doing production and you are going to sell all those production into the society. So then you got responsibility to deliver quality services, to deliver something to the society. Whether they are going to engage with your economic activity or not, you got responsibility. As an example, just consider about the Capital Maharaja. I mean, serious TV channel. They are conducting Gammad program to provide different type of services to the rural community. So that's the meaning of social responsibility. By increasing by doing something for the social responsibility, they try to increase their market value, goodwill, satisfactions, strong name increased in front of the rural community. So it provides different types of advantages to the company also. Yes, it is a secondary option, but they got responsibility to provide something to the society. That is why they are going to do that part. We call it social responsibility. Okay. And innovations and development. You have to provide, you have to create new things, improving production. Technology will provide innovations, new methodologies, technology, and each and every activities, including the innovation technology. So those are the goals in here. But you can identify in some major things in here. This is a major goal. So some company doing all those things to achieve this one, isn't it? Yes. So now you can identify private sector always try to maximize the profit. Without maximizing profit, you cannot do anything in the private sector. That is why they are going to do that. This is the major activity. Okay. Different types of organization goals. Okay. Profit maximizing. Aim to increase the financial gain. That is why we call it profit maximizing. Example, company increase the selling quantity. If they can say increase the selling quantity, they can achieve the financial goal. That is how they can maximize the profit. Okay. Second one is customer satisfaction. We already discussed that. Improve the quality of the services. This kind of enhancing services to meet the expectation of the consumers. They can increase the selling quantity also, improve the services. Growth and expansion, expand the market reach. Brand opening new stores and something like that one. It helps to expand the organization. Okay. Social responsibility of firm adopting the eco-friendly policies. It also responsibility. If any organization try to produce goods and services damaging the environment, it is not a responsible work. They got a responsibility to protect the people and the environment. No need to do different programs to the society, something like government. If you can conduct eco-friendly production to the society, that is enough. If you can if you can grow your organization to provide employment opportunity to the society, it also responsibility. It provide opportunities to the entire society. It also one of the responsibility. If you are organization growth and you are only using machineries, no opportunities to the community or labor, then that is not a responsible business. Okay, you are responsible to provide something to society. No need additional programs. You can do responsible work within the organization also. No need to go outside. Okay, right. Innovations. A tech company launching AI-based app. It is an innovation. As an example, nowadays you can identify Google company release new AI technology, and Tesla company and different type of companies release free AI tools. Then you can take usage, isn't it? Without paying. This is a innovation. If you have anything to identify or you don't have any idea anything, so ask from the AI. They will provide the information. That is one of the innovations. But in past days, we already find anything from the Google. So they provide many information not relevant to our target. So we have to read many things, many documents to identify something. But in here, if you provide something to the AI, you will get the reasonable answer. So that's the innovations. right? So those are the things you can identify as a organizational goal. And now we are going to discuss about the input. So now already you identify input is one of the resources which you can use to produce goods and services. In the production process, first step is find inputs. Yes. So then you can divide that input into two categories. First one is fixed input. Second one is variable input. Fixed input means a production factor that doesn't change with the level of output in the short run. Do not worry about the short run and long run. I will describe it in few minutes. Okay, we cannot identify each and everything at once. Okay, I will describe. So then in here you can identify a production factor doesn't change. It's not going to be changed with the level of output. So then you can identify when the output 0, there must be a fixed cost, isn't it? If the fixed cost is 100, when the production 0, fixed cost is already 100. When the production 2, fixed cost is 100. Because fixed cost is not going to change. That is why we call it fixed. Fixed means is stable, constant, not going to change. As example, just consider fixed input. Factory building. Today you are not going to produce anything. So then factory building is not going to change. Same building. Today you are not going to produce anything. Your production is 0. Machinery already there. Land is already there. So tomorrow you are going to produce 200 commodities. Okay. So building is stable. Same building. Same machineries. Same land. Those are not going to change. That is why we call it fixed input. You got the idea? Yes. And again, variable inputs. How we can identify the variable inputs? A production factor that change with the level of output. When the output level change, I mean the final production change, quantity change, variable factor also going to be changed. Okay, as example, the raw materials. If you are going to produce 0, no need raw material, isn't it? Then raw material also becomes 0. So if you are going to produce 200 commodities, then you need raw materials, isn't it? Yes, that is the situation. If you are going to produce 400 commodities, then you have to double the raw materials. So now you can identify according to the production level, according to the production quantity, the variable input also can be changed. That is why we call it as a variable. Variable means changing factor. Change. Okay. Labor. It also, if your production level increase, you have to get the more and more workers into the organization. So just consider about the electricity. Yes. If you are using electricity to power the machineries, so then you need to pay for the electricity. If your each and every machineries are in a level of off, or you are not going to use that machineries, then electricity will be dropped down. Yes. So then now you can identify according to change in the level of output or production level, variable inputs can be changed. Yes. So keep all those things in your mind because the mathematical equations create by using this concept. Okay, mathematical equations, each and every calculations are based on this knowledge. That is why I'm going to provide information related to that. After this, we can identify the calculations. Okay, right. Comparison table for the fixed input and variable input. Now you can identify very easily. Feature change with the output. No, fixed input is not going to change with the output. Fixed means machineries, factory building, land, something like that. But they are not going to change with the output level. Output means final production quantity. Okay. Variable input, yes, it's going to be changed. With the raw material, labor, electricity, water supply, each and everything can be changed related to the production level, production quantity. So time frames, short run, fixed. Do not worry about that one. I will describe this one related to the short run and long. Okay, skip that one. I'm going to describe one example. Factory, building, machineries, land, those are fixed. Raw material, labor, electricity, those are variable input. It can be changed. Type of cost. If you are going to spend money on the fixed factor, fixed input, we call it fixed cost. If you are going to spend 200 rupees on machineries or land or factory building, so this is the 200, we can call it fixed input. Fixed cost. Sorry, fixed cost. Okay. So if you are going to spend 500 rupees on the raw material, labor, electricity, so this is the cost. We call it variable cost. Now you can identify fixed cost is fixed. It's not going to change with the number of production. But variable cost can be changed one step to another step. So that is the difference between variable cost and fixed cost. Okay, right. Do not worry about that one. We are going to calculate each and everything by using equations. In here, you can identify the difference, main difference between fixed and okay. Right. We already identified what's the meaning of production process and the difference of the fixed input and variable input, and what are the goal of the organizations. Those are the things we already discussing here. And now I'm going to describe about the production function. We call it Cobb-Douglas production function. Cobb-Douglas. Cobb-Douglas means the two persons who innovate that production function in the economics field. Cobb and Paul Douglas. We call it Cobb-Douglas production function. Okay. So in here, each and every equations, you can divide it into two parts. Okay. As example, y equal a plus bx. Okay. So this is the left side and this is the right side. This is the two type of parts related to any kind of equations. Okay. So this part, in the left side, we call it depending variable. What is depending variable? Depending variable. Okay. This part we call as depending variable. This part must be independent variable. Yes. According to change in the x, the value of the y can be changed. Yes. So now in here, the production function also review something like that. In here, a production function describes the relationship between input and output. Okay, input and output. The relationship between those two variables described by using a function. That function is the production function. Okay, so what are the input? Labor, capital, raw material, something like that. What are the output? Output means goods and services. Number of productions. Okay, it shows how different combinations of input produce the certain level of production. As example, Q equal F mean fundamental law depending on those factors. Okay. First one is L. L represent the labor inputs. Okay. K represent the capital. It's not represented by using C. It's represented by using K. It is because each and every or most of the economic concept developed by the Latin people. They are not going to use capital as CAPITAL. They are using K. Okay, that is why it is become K, because Latin language is different from the English language. Okay, still we are going to use that equations. Okay, K represent the level of capital. Capital mean how many capital inputs we are going to use to produce that one. And L represent the labor input. Labor input mean labor hours. Okay, labor hours. We are not going to consider about the people, number of people. Not about the number of people. It is related to the number of hours worked by the workers. We call it labor hours. Okay. So then, if they are going to use 8 labor hours and 2 capital inputs, they can produce 20 production, 20 quantities. As example, okay? As example, just consider if they need to produce 20 quantities of the certain production, they have to get 8 hours labors and 2 of capital inputs. By using those 2, they can produce 20 production or quantity of the output. This is the level. So function means the relationship between input and output. F means the functional relationship. Functional relationship, mathematical relationship, okay, between inputs and output. So that's the meaning of production function. Okay, it's not a high level of things. It is just simple activity or simple concept. But this concept is very useful to identify the behavior of the organizations. That is why we are going to consider about this one. Okay, I think you got the idea related to the main idea related to the production function. Okay.
Yes.
Now we can identify type of production functions. Type of production function. Short run production function and long run production function. Okay. As an example, you already identify Q equal F within brackets L and K. Okay. So in short run production function, at least one input. Clearly identify what I'm going to say. Okay. At least one input is fixed. What is? It is K. Okay. If you are going to put something like that symbol, we call it hat. Hat mark. That means this factor, I mean capital, is fixed. Okay. Capital is fixed, but L is variable. So that kind of production factor represent the short run production process. Short run production process. Short run mean it is not about the hours, day, month, or year. Normally we are going to calculate the time by using hours, days, and month and years. But in economics, we are not going to use that method to identify the time period. We can divide a time period into 2 categories. First one is short run, second one is long run. Okay, I'm going to describe that one. So try to catch up what's the difference between short run and long run. Run means time period. We are not going to call as time period. We call it run. First one is short run. Short run means in this position, any kind of organization, they have to fix one factor. That means they cannot change the fixed factor. Isn't it? Why? Because they don't have financial strength. That is why they are not going to change. As an example, just consider you are starting bakery production to produce bread and cakes. Okay, already you build up the building. Then your earnings, day-to-day earning is enough to pay for the workers. Okay, it is enough to pay for the workers. There's no large number of revenues. Okay, so then you are going to cover the wage rates and salaries for the workers only. You think that you need to change that buildings. Unfortunately, you cannot do it. Why? Because you don't have enough money to do that. That is why one factor is going to be fixed. So now you can identify the short run is depend on the ability of the organization. It is not about the time period. It reviews the ability of the workers, ability of the organization, isn't it? Yes. It is not going to represent the time period, date, month, something like that. Some companies start from the 2025 January, they shift into the long run in the March. Can they do that? Yes, they can do that according to their abilities. If their earnings are enough to cover the variable cost and fixed cost, they can change it. Yes, but some companies start from the 2020, still they are conducting their production into 2025, but still they are in the short run, isn't it? It can be done because their earning is not enough to cover the fixed cost. That is why they are still running on the short run production process. Now you can identify the run or time period in the economic is not going to measure by the date and time. It measured by the financial strength, financial activities, financial abilities. So that is how we can identify the short run and the long run in the economic field. Did you get the idea? So then what about the long run? Long run. Long run. Long run means in that position, all inputs, each and everything, all input become variable. That means in here, now you can change entire production process. Even buildings, even machineries, equipments, land, each and everything you can change. So now you can identify if any organization produce their production activities or conduct their production activities in the long run time period. That's the meaning. They can change each and everything. Okay. Or every variables become variable inputs. There's no fixed input in that position, in that time period. Okay. Sometimes some companies shift from short run period to long run period within few days. Yes, but some companies conducting their production process over than 5 years, 6 years. Still, they are running their production process in the short run because their abilities are in a low level. So I think you got the idea related to the short run and long run. Okay, that is how we can identify short run production person, something like that. K is fixed. That means one input is fixed. You can change only labor inputs. That is, if I am going to write down something like then Q equal F within brackets L K hat. So this is belong to the short run production process. This is belong to short run production process. If I am going to write down something like that one, Q equal F, L, and K. So it is belong to the long run production process. Because no any factors become fixed factor. No hat always represent the fixed factor. Okay. In economics, okay. In inputs are variable following the firm's adjustable production. So everything can be changed. So then Cobb-Douglas production function. So this is the very important part in here. Cobb-Douglas production function. In here, I will write down Q equal A L alpha K beta. Okay, this is the in here we type that it's changed because when you are going to convert into the PDF, it convert automatically. Okay, Q equal A alpha K beta. Okay, in here A represented intercept of the production. L represent the level of input, I mean labor. Alpha represent the we call elasticity of labor. I mean, when you are going to change the level of labor, how much you can change the quantity. That's the relationship between L and Q, represented by using alpha. Okay. If you are going to change one L, what will happen to the Q? As an example, just consider alpha equal to 1. Okay, if you are going to change one level of labor, Q also going to be changing 1. That's the meaning of alpha. Okay. Beta K represent the capital, beta represent the, beta mean something like that. Okay. Beta represent the elasticity of the capital. That means if beta equal to 1, if you are going to change one capital factor, Q also going to be changed in one factor. Okay. 1 to 1. We will discuss all those Cobb-Douglas production function calculations in later. In here, you need to identify only the basic meaning of this Cobb-Douglas production function. Do not worry about that one. I'm going to describe about the values and alpha, beta, each and everything, how you calculate, how you can identify the labor intensive production and capital intensive production by using alpha value and beta value. Each and everything can be identified. Okay, do not worry about that one. First of all, try to identify the short run production process, short run production function and long run production function and the Cobb-Douglas production function. The most valuable function is Cobb-Douglas production function. We are going to use that Cobb-Douglas production function in future. Okay, next day or today we can discuss those. Don't worry about that. Okay, now this is the time to identify the short run and long. Already we identified that one. Basic idea related to the short run production process and long run production process. Okay, short run, a period where at least one input, example as a capital, is fixed and firm can only adjust variable inputs. As example, labor. Okay, fixed input is there and variable input also there. So we can call it short run. What is the meaning of long run? A period where all inputs, including capital, are variable. That means each and every inputs are variables. That means each and everything can be changed, allowing firm to fully adjust the production. Yes, they can adjust total production. They can wind up the production and new production can be start. But in here, I mean, in the short run, you cannot take something like that kind of decisions because your decisions are limited. Your abilities are limited. Your financial abilities are limited in the short run. But in the long run, your financial abilities 100% got the freedom to change each and everything. Yes. So this is the freedom any organization can utilize the each and every resources. Okay. So key difference between those two major topic. First one is input adjustability. In short run, at least one input is fixed. One input is fixed. In the long run, all input can be variable. Okay. Example, a bakery can hire more workers but cannot expand the building immediately, isn't it? Yes. They can hire more workers. 3 or 5 or 6 or something like that. But they cannot change the building immediately because they don't have enough money to change that. Okay. This is very easy to identify that kind of example. Okay. What then happened in the long run? A bakery can build a large factory and buy more ovens. That means you can buy capital equipment and machineries in the long run because each and everything become variable factors. So now how you can do it? Because in the long run, your financial strength, financial abilities are in a high level. On the other hand, you can identify in the short run your profitability in a low level. But in the long run, your profitability in a high level. That is why you can change each and every. That's the difference. Okay. And let's move to the next one. I mean, cost structure. Okay. Fixed and variable costs exist. Yes. If you are going to discuss about the input, variable input arise, variable input provide variable cost. Fixed input provide fixed cost. So now you can identify in the short run, fixed and variable cost will be here. But what about the long run? Long run, only variable cost will be available. Why? Because there isn't any kind of fixed factor in here. So then there is no fixed cost. Only you can pay for the variable cost, which and everything can be changed. So what about the flexibility? So what kind of decision you can take in the during the short run and long run related to the production process, entire production. But just consider in the short run time period, your flexibility in a limited level. Limited due to the fixed input. Some inputs are there, you cannot change. That is why you have flexibility in a limited level. So what about the long run? Full flexibility will be there because entire production can be changed due to the financial availability, financial strength of the organization. So by using this kind of table, you can clearly identify the difference between long run and short run. So it is very easy to identify. Okay, right. I think you got the idea. The difference between long run and short run. Okay. And then we are going to use, now we are going to discuss about the production side. Now, yeah, I already said that we are going to discuss on the side of production, cost, and the revenue. Okay, in here, we are going to discuss about the production part. Okay. So production can be categorized into three categories. First one is total production. average production, and marginal production. Okay. So we can identify one by one. First one is total production. Total production means the total output produced by given amount of input. As example, in a bakery, in a one day, in a given output, you can produce 100 breads. That 100 quantity can be identified as TP. TP means total production. Okay. Right. Average production. Average production means average output per unit of input. How we can calculate that one? AP mean average production. AP equal TP divided by Q. Okay. O L in a short run. That means variables or input. As example, in here total production TP was 100. 100 breads produced by the bakery producer. Okay. So now we are going to calculate the average production. Okay. What they produce 100 breads by using 50 kilograms of flour. Okay. So then you are going to calculate the average production. Average production is equal to TP divided by input. Input means variable input. Okay. Right. That means 100 divided by 50. It is just 2. 2 mean by using 1 kilo of flour, you can produce only 2 breads. That's the meaning of average production. That means the output per unit of input, isn't it? Yes, the output per unit for input. Okay, by using 1 kilogram of flour, you can produce only 2 breads. Okay, do not worry about the practical situation. We know that by using 1 kilo of flour, we can produce more than two breads. Yes, that's the reality. In practical manner, do not worry about that one. In calculation, to get the example, I take something like that one. Okay, in practical situation can be changed. Okay, right. So then this calculation must be in your mind. Okay, this calculations. Okay, right. Because you have to calculate total production, average production, and marginal production in your paper. Okay, right. In marginal production, do not worry about the name of marginal. Marginal means additional. Okay, always marginal represent the additional. The additional output produced by the addition, adding 1 more unit of the input. So now input is 50 kilograms. Okay, you produce 100 beds. This is output. Okay, I take same example to understand. That is very easy to identify. Are you okay?
Yes.
Okay. And then you are adding additional input. I mean 51 kilograms. Additional is just only one kilograms. Okay. After adding additional kilogram, production become 102. 102. So how we can calculate the MP? MP mean marginal production. Delta TP divided by delta input. Delta TP means the difference of the total production. It is just 2, isn't it? Yes. It's 2. Because earlier it was 100, now it is 102. So difference between input 50 and 51, it is just 1. And it is 2. 2 is the marginal production. By adding 1 unit of more input, you produce only two commodities. That's the meaning of marginal production. So those are very important, okay? To profit maximizing, you are going to calculate by using marginal production, marginal cost, marginal revenue, each and everything. This knowledge is very important to calculate the profit maximizing related to any kind of industry. Okay, market structure. That is why I'm going to discuss all those things one by one. Okay, in here you can identify the labor. Labor means variable input. In here you have to identify we are going to measure or calculate anything related to the short run, not to the long run, because if you can identify the short run, you can identify the long run very easily. Okay, every calculation belongs to the short run or to the long run. After identify the short run, you can identify the long. Okay. So this is input. Input mean L. It is the variable factor. Total product. Total product mean final production. You can produce 100 commodities by using one labor. An average production also 10. How it become? TP divided by L. L mean input. 10 divided by 1. 10. Okay. Marginal production. Actually, in first situation, we are not going to calculate the marginal. We are going to create something like that symbol, because there is no production in earlier than that. Okay. And you are going to add another labor hours. Okay, labor input, one labor input increase. Your production total production become 25. So then how you can calculate the average production? TP divided by L. TP, it is 25 divided by 2. So it becomes 12.5. Right? And again, 1 minute, please. I think my internet connection is not stable, isn't it? Sometimes. Wait 1 minute. I will see. It's not clear. Oh, clear?
Yes, it's clear for me.
Clear, clear. Right, okay. Okay. Right. And then this one. TP divided by TP is 25. I mean in here. And then labor is just 2. And then 25 divided by the 2, it is 12.5. Okay, average production. And then you are going to calculate the marginal production at that point. I mean labor to production. So delta TP divided by delta L. Delta TP means the difference between all those two. The difference between these two is 50. Earlier it was 10 and 25. The difference between 2 points of labor, 1 and 2, it is just 1. 15 divided by 1, it is just 50. That is why it becomes 50. Okay. Right. In here, in third situation and third option, again, labor input increased because this is short run time period. Okay. 3. What happened to the total production? It increased. Okay. Increased to 45. So what happened to the average production? 45 divided by 3. Okay. It become 50. So what happened to the marginal production? The difference between TP, it is 25 to 45. It is 20, isn't it? Yes.
20. Yes.
The difference between these 2 points of labor, it is 1. 20 divided by 1, it is 20. Again, 4 becomes 60. Difference is 15. Average production becomes 15. and marginal production also become 50. But in here, you can identify 4 to 5. Total production increase. Okay, but what happened to the average production? It decreased. How it happened? Because AP equal TP divided by L. AP means it is 70. Okay, it is 70 divided by 5. Yes, it is 40. Okay. So then what about the marginal product? Delta TP. The difference is just 10. Delta 1. Delta L, it is 1. And it become 10. Marginal production. So again, you can identify the behavior of the marginal production when you are going to increase variable input one by one. No need to worry about the total production. It is already going to be increased. Okay. So then what about the average production? Average production after some certain time or certain point, the average production going to be reduced. But what happened to the marginal production? After certain production, marginal production also going to be reduced. So that is the behavior of short-run production process related to any kind of organization. So the behavior can be identified as something like that, isn't it? Yes. If you're adding 7, 8, 9, you can calculate it. So first of all, this is the variable of input in here, I mean L, okay? This is the production output, I mean Q, okay? If you are going to increase variable output, variable input by one, so then what happened to the total production? It is going to increase. After this certain point, if you are going to add more and more inputs, what happened? Total production also going to be reduced. In here, you cannot identify that one because inputs are limited. Okay. But in here, you can identify at once. Total production increase. Sorry, average production increase. In a certain point, average production and marginal production become similar value. You can identify it in here. Yeah, this one. Can you identify? The average production value and marginal production values are similar, isn't it? So that's one. So after that one, what happened to the average production? It's going to reduce. So this one, average production going to reduce. But in here, marginal production started already to reduce the values. This one, in this point also. Okay. After reaching the maximum point of the total production, when the total production reach the maximum point, marginal production becomes 0. That is a law. Okay. No one can change it. If producer reach the maximum production level, marginal production becomes 0. Okay. After reaching that maximum point, if producer try to produce more and more production by increasing the input, total production reduce and marginal production become minus value. As example, I will show that. If just consider 75. By using 75, you can produce only 70. Then you can identify 75 is the maximum point for the total production, isn't it? Yes. And then average production, 70 divided by 7. It is just 10. Okay. And what happened to the marginal production? MP, delta TP divided by delta L. Delta TP, the difference between 75 and 70, it is minus 5, minus 5, minus 5. Yes. The difference between 70 and 75 plus 5. This is minus 5. It reduced, the value reduced, then minus 5. So then what happened to the number of input? Only 1. Minus 5 divided by 1, it is minus 5. So then it become minus value. So that is why it become minus value. Okay. Until reach the top level of the maximum level of the total production, always marginal production take plus value, isn't it? Yes. So now here you can identify always marginal production take plus value when the total production increase. After it reach the maximum point, it become minus value. Okay. This is what happening. Right? You can identify by using any information. Okay, you can take some information table, something like that from the internet, and you can identify the behaviors of the total production and marginal production and average production. Okay, in here you have to identify when reaching the average production curve cross the marginal production, average production try to reduce at that point. When the total production reach the maximum point, marginal production becomes 0. After maximum point total production, try to reduce the total production, and marginal production become minus values. So this is the behavior related to the short run time period. Okay, key observation must be there. So those are the key observation related to the curve. MP initially increases. Yes, MP is the curve. Try to initially increase by speeding. Okay, showing increase in returns of to labors. The returns of the labor, it is increasing. Returns mean when you are going to increase the input L by 1, as example, the production quantity increase value take greater than the increase of input. In here, you can identify input increase by 1, 1, but the production increase more than 1, isn't it? Yes, that is why initially increases, showing increases return, increasing returns. Increasing returns. Returns mean, do you have any idea about the returns? Returns mean something like that. This is input and this is output. Okay. I will describe. If you are going to increase input by 20, okay, output increase as a result of increasing output, input 20. Now you can identify same value. You increase 20 out input. As a result of that one, output also increase 20. So we call it constant return. Constant return. Return is constant. Return is constant. Okay. We call it constant return. On the other hand, you are going to increase input by 20%. 20. Okay, 20 quantity. As a result of that one, output increase 40. Okay. So then output take greater value than the input. So that kind of position, we call it increasing return. Increasing returns. Return is going to be increased. So it is favorable for the producer. But that one is not favorable for the. It is similar. As an example, if I am going to say that you are spending 10,000 to earn 10,000. It's constant return. So it is not a genius work, isn't it? You are spending 10,000 to earn 10,000. So keep your 10,000 in your hand without doing anything. So it is not a genius one. Okay. In here, you are spending 20,000 to earn 40,000. So it is favorable. So we call it increasing returns. Did you get the idea? Yes.
Yes.
And again, just consider you are going to increase input by 20 and your returns become 10. In here, you get nothing. So something get, but it's not reasonable. We call it decreasing returns. Decreasing returns. You are spending 20,000 to earn 10,000. You are spending 20,000 to earn 10,000. It is not a favorable thing. It is not a fair thing. So, did you get the idea for the returns? Yes. It returns review or represent something different in the normal situation. But in economics, returns mean the combination between the input and output. So in here, you can identify MP initially increases, showing the increasing returns. That means you are going to increase input one by one, but the returns, I mean the output increasement, take greater value than the input increasement. I will go back to the details to show that one. So carefully look at that one. Input increase by one, isn't it? Yes. Input increase one by one. Input increase 1. As a result of that one, output increased by 5, 20, 60, something like that one. It says 20. So then it must be the increase in returns. Because output is taking greater value than the input change. That is why we call it increasing returns. It's very easy to identify, okay? Increasing returns. So it is, if the input level, increment level and output level similar, we call it constant return. Constant. Nothing you can get. You are spending 20,000 to earn 20,000. Something like that happen. Okay. So in here, you have to identify the favorable situation for the producer is increasing returns. Okay. Always they are expecting something like that situation in the production process. Okay. No one try to get the decreasing returns because it is not a fair situation to the entire organization. They always try to create the returns as increasing returns. That is how they are expecting in the production process. Okay. I think you got the idea related to the returns. Okay. Right. Right. Okay. And then next observation, key observation. I'm going to discuss related to the observation of that curve. TP, AP, MP. Okay. Those are the curves which we are going to use related to that position. Okay. Right. Second one. MP decreases after a point showing diminishing returns. Okay, diminishing returns. The returns is going to be reduced. That is why we call it diminishing returns. Sorry, connection was failed. Okay, right. Sorry for that one. Right. In here, again, MP, I mean marginal production, decreases after certain point, showing diminishing returns. I mean decreasing returns. See this one, decreasing returns. The input increasement taking greater value than the output increasement. That is how we call as decreasing return or diminishing return. Let's move to this one. Okay. I mean previous table. And you can identify diminishing returns in here. Diminishing returns. So just consider in here, when you are going to increase the input in the certain point of labor 2 point of labor to 3, this point, output increased by 20. Isn't it? Yes. But in here, 5 to 6, same increasement of input. What had happened to the output increasement? It is just 5. That means return is going to be reduced. That is why we call it after certain time period. It shows the diminishing return or decreasing returns. Okay. When MP is below, AP or AP start to decline. Yes. Already we identified that one. So TP reaches the maximum when the MP becomes 0. This one. TP in a maximum level, MP becomes 0. Yes. So this is the relationship. It is very important to identify, okay? So decision cannot be taken by the entrepreneur without knowing all those relationships. That is why it providing better knowledge. Okay. So just we are going to identify the diminishing marginal returns. Already you identify marginal return always. What happened? After certain time period, is going to be reduced. Marginal returns. Okay. Definitions. Diminishing marginal return is stated that additional unit of variable input, I mean labor, are added to a fixed input, I mean machineries, width and land. The marginal product of the variable input voluntary decreasing. That's the meaning of diminishing marginal return, diminishing additional returns. So it is belong to the short time period. So that kind of law, that kind of theory, you can identify only in the short time period, not in the long run time. Okay, is belong to the short run time period. Okay, so then this occur because the fixed input become a constant. Fixed input become constant, limiting the effectiveness of the additional labor resource. You cannot identify that one by using example. You can identify this one. How diminishing marginal return arise. So as example, a bakery has 1 hour. 1 hour. That is fixed. Okay, this is fixed input. Only 1 hour. And as it hire more workers, already they hired 3 workers, and now they are going to hire 30 workers. Okay, that means only variable input can be increased in the same fixed input. What happened? The first few workers increases production effective. Yes, MP rise. Okay, rises. But after certain point, workers start to crowding the hour. Yes, no one can take the utilization of hour, reducing the effectiveness efficiency. So we start the marginal production decline. Eventually, adding more workers adds no extra output, or many even reduce the production. I mean, MP reach the zero or negative sometime. That's the meaning of this occur, because fixed input become constant, limited effectiveness with the adding labor resources. If you are keeping the same amount of fixed input, only if you are going to try to increase the labor, the effectiveness of the increasing the labor can be reduced. That's the meaning of diminishing marginal returns. Okay. That is how it explained by using simple example. Okay. This is how you can identify that. Okay. Workers, one by one increase. There's no change in the fixed factors. Okay. Only L represent the variable factor. It is going to be increased one by one, one by one, one by one. Okay. So then what happened to the total production? It's reached the maximum point. This is the maximum point. 75. When the total production reached the maximum point, what happened to the margin? It becomes 0. After that, if they are going to try to increase the production, I mean total production, it reduces and marginal production become minus value, -3. Okay, 75 already was 75 and it becomes 72, -3. So eventually that is going to be increased 10, 15, 20. After a certain period, it's going to be reduced. It becomes 0 and minus value. That's the meaning of diminishing marginal return in the production. Okay. So with the certain amount of fixed factor, you cannot change the entire production process. That is how it becomes changed. Okay. So now we have to identify what's the meaning of direct cost and indirect cost, the difference between those two. Now this is the time we already identify the production, okay, related to certain time period. We identify total production, average production, marginal production. Now this is the time to identify the direct cost and indirect cost. Okay, related to the cost section. Direct cost, a cost that can be directly tracked to a specific production, project, or department directly. What is the meaning of indirect cost? A cost that cannot be directly linked to the single product or services, and it is shaped across multiple activities. This cannot be identified in here. You can identify that difference between direct and indirect cost by considering this table. Definition: cost directly linked to the production. If you are conducting bakery, direct cost is linked to the production directly. As example, financial cost is directly linked. Okay. Indirect cost that support overall operations. As example, you are conducting bakery. That meaning ABC bakery. Okay. To conduct that bakery, you are taking 3 workers. Then you have to pay wages. Okay. 150,000 for the workers. Okay. Divided by 3 for 1 workers is 50,000. Okay. But you are spending your time, wealth, and each and everything to conduct that bakery. Then if you can conduct supermarket, mini supermarket as an alternative for the bakery, then you can earn money. isn't it? Yes. Then you are sacrificing this option to conduct this bakery, isn't it? Yes, we call it what? Opportunity cost. Already we discussed that. Opportunity cost. So that is what they are indicating that as indirect cost. The cost that support overall operations. Yes, it is opportunity cost. Example, raw material. If you are going to pay for the raw material, you have to pay in financial. Wages, production workers, each and everything. Rent, electricity, administrative salaries. Those are indirect. Okay. If you are paying for the rent, you can take that rent, that cost to do any other things. You are paying for the rent for the building, but without conducting bakery, you can conduct supermarket. Yes. So that's the meaning of indirect. Electricity. By using electricity, you can use the oven of the bakery. Yes. By using that electricity, you can conduct supermarket, and you can use that electricity to power the refrigerators also in the supermarket. So it is alternative uses are there. Administrative salary. Yes, they can admin another business activity. So those are indirect cost or opportunity cost. And transferability. Easily transferred to the specific product. You can identify very easily that cost for this one. But in here, you cannot identify it. It's very easy. Difficult to assign for the single product. Do you have any idea about my opportunity cost in this time period? No, you don't have any idea about that. Okay. And also similar. You don't have any, I don't have any idea about your opportunity cost. Yes. I don't have any idea what kind of things you are going to sacrifice for this one. I don't have any idea. So that is why it say that it is difficult to assign. It is difficult to identify. You cannot identify the opportunity cost of any businessman for these businesses. You cannot identify the Sri Lanka Telecom conducting Mobitel services. You don't have any idea because they got the idea, their opportunities and their capabilities to do another businesses, isn't it? Yes. Variabilities, visually variable. This can change with the production, often fixed, remaining constant. But we don't have any idea when the conducting bakery, you don't have any idea exactly how you can earn from the supermarket. Okay, that is why we call it is fixed. You only think about the imaging. If I am going to conduct supermarket, I can earn that amount. That is imaging things. Okay. In last year also, I think something like that. In here, that year also, I'm thinking about that one. Same thing is not going to change because we don't have practice with that. Because it is imaging. That is why it can be changed. Okay. And again, so we got some example for the direct and indirect cost. The cost of wood in furniture production. So it is visible. That is why we call it direct cost. The salary for the factory workers is simply the product. Yes. It is for the labors. The cost of paint used for the specific batch of chairs. It can be seen. That is why we call it direct cost. So what are the indirect costs? Electricity bill for the entire factory. We can use electricity power for the another production also. Manager's salary, since they oversees their multiple productions. Yes, they can use those managers to produce another productions. Their knowledge. Okay. a machine used for the various production. Yes, if you are using this machinery for this production, I mean wood production, you can use for the other production, I mean table production and bed production, producing wooden beds or something like that. But in India, you are going to use that machinery for produce only chair. So there must be alternatives. Okay. And the short run production cost. This short run production cost identify as 3 categories. This is the production cost in the short run. TC. TC means total cost. Okay. Total cost contained with the total fixed cost and the total variable cost. This is the equations related to the short run production process. The total cost contained with the fixed cost and variable cost in the short run time. Okay, that is how you can identify the difference. Total cost. Okay, do not worry about those things. Just double check. TC equal TFC plus TVC. Total cost of production including both fixed and variable cost. Because in the short run, you are going to use fixed factor and variable factor. That is why it includes variable cost and fixed cost. Example, rent, wages, and material cost. Okay, so those are the example. So then what about the total fixed cost? Fixed cost mean cost that do not change with the output in the short run. We call it fixed factor. If you are going to spend on the fixed factor, that becomes fixed cost. It is constant. It's not going to change. As example, rent of the factory, rent of the building, cost of the insurance. It is we are going to pay for the insurance in the based on the year. If in this March, okay, is this month if you are going to not produce production, still you have to pay. Still you have to pay. Whether you are going to use your vehicle or not, you have to pay for the insurance. Okay, so that's how we can call it fixed cost. And next one is total variable cost, TVC, total variable cost. The cost that change with the output level. According to change in Q, you can identify variable cost also going to be changed. Some of the variable expenses, as example, wages. If you increase the labors, you can increase the variable cost. If you are going to increase the raw material, your variable cost also increase. If you are going to reduce the raw material, your cost also reduce. Okay. So then what about the average total cost? ATC. ATC calculated by ATC mean AC. It is similar, okay? Sometimes you can call ATC. Sometimes it can be called AC. There's no difference between those one. We call it average cost, okay? Or we can call cost per unit. Cost per unit. Cost per unit. Cost per unit is cost per unit of output is average total cost. How you can calculate it? ATC equal TC divided by Q. TC mean total cost, Q mean number of production. Okay, I will describe the calculation in different way. Okay, and this is average fixed cost. Average fixed cost mean fixed cost per unit. That's how we can calculate AFC equal TFC divided by Q. TFC mean divided by Q. It's equal to AFC. That means fixed cost per 1 unit. Then this one, variable cost per 1 unit. AVC, average variable cost. How we can calculate it? AVC equal TVC divided by Q. So then what about the marginal cost? The additional cost of producing one more unit. If you are producing another additional unit, the cost gain because of that additional unit, we call it marginal cost. How we can calculate it? MC equal delta TC divided by delta Q. The difference of the production, difference of the total production, total cost. We call it marginal cost. Let's move to the equation. This is the equation. By using this equation, you can calculate anything. This is the easiest way. Total cost is combination of the total fixed cost and total variable cost. Okay. So then how you can calculate the TFC? If there is no TFC, how you can calculate it? TFC equal TC minus TVC, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, it is simple. Then how you can calculate the TVC if you don't have any idea about the TVC? TC minus TFC. Yes, that's the difference. By using this equation, you can build up any equation, okay? So what about the AC? AC or ATC? Average cost. Cost per one unit. TC divided by Q. TC divided by Q. So TC divided by Q already represent the average cost of production or cost per one unit, isn't it? Yes. So as an example, if the total products cost 100, you are producing only 10 commodities, 10 is the AC. You are spending 10 rupees to produce one unit. That's the meaning of average cost. So now it is easy to identify in here. I will change that. That's one something like that. Okay. AC equal TC divided by Q. AC equal TC divided by Q. So TC can be represented by using TFC plus TVC, isn't it? Yes. So now if you are going to divide all those equation by Q, that means TFC divided by Q, TVC divided by Q. So if you are going to divide TFC by Q, that's the meaning of AFC. Cost, fixed cost per one unit. Average fixed cost. This TVC divided by Q means AVC. Average variable cost. Cost per variable cost per one unit. This is the name. And marginal cost is MC. MC equal delta TC divided by delta Q, isn't it? Yes.
Yes.
The difference of the total cost and divided by the difference of the production. The cost per additional unit is represented by the marginal cost. That is how you can identify those things. Okay. So just identify these equations are very important to calculate other things. In your exam, you are not given those equations. Keep all this equation in your mind. Okay. It is not hard. Each and everything built by using this first one, isn't it? TC equal TFC plus TVC. It created by each and this one. So if you are going to divide all those two part by using Q, TC divided by Q become AC. TFC divided by Q become AVC. AFC. Something like that. Very easy to identify, okay? TC divided by Q become AC. TFC divided by Q become AFC. TVC divided by Q, AVC. So now you can identify AVC equal to AFC plus ABC. Then how you can calculate the AVC? AVC equal AC minus AFC. How you can calculate the AFC? AFC equal AC minus AVC. Another calculation also will be there. By using two methods, you can calculate, because sometime you will given something like that one. Okay, 1 minute, please. I will show some equations, some table. You have to fill that tables, something like that one. In the paper, you will given something like that one. You have to fill each and every sections. So then by using that knowledge, you have to you must be able to fill that one, because some informations are missing. Then you have to try with some equations, another terms of equation, and you have to try another equation, term of equation, direct equation and indirect equations, something like that. If TC equal to TFC plus TVC, then you have to identify, then TFC equal to TC minus TVC, something like that. You have to change the equation one by one to identify the values related to each and everything. Did you see something like that questions in your past questions papers? I showed one of it. Okay, one of that it is included that kind of calculations. Okay, that means you have to keep all those equation in your mind. Okay, I know that it is not easy, but if you can use tactics, you can challenge it, isn't it? Because this is not the hard part of this subject. You have to find out the national accounting, something like very hard to identify, because words are very different from the normal words, day-to-day words. This is very important, and very easy calculations will be there. Very easy calculation. Do not worry about that one. I will calculate each and everything with you. Okay. If any case, you can ask anytime. Okay. Right. We can wind up to today. Okay. Happy to other.
Sir?
Oh.
Yeah, sir, March 23rd and 30th මට classes miss වෙනවා last 2 weeks.
අපි එහෙනම් මෙහෙම කරමුද?